Right above your ear. Go ahead. Touch it. There's supposedly a bump that 19th century experts said marked you as a born criminal. That wasn't a carnival trick. It was championed by physicians, embraced in Queen Victoria's court, and argued in courtrooms. Phrenology, the fake science that fooled the smartest people in the room. It began with one respected doctor's honest observation, and the reason it worked should make you nervous. Franz Joseph Gall was born in 1758. He was a highly respectable German physician and anatomist, not a carnival charlatan. He completed his medical training in Strasbourg before moving to the University of Vienna, where he defended his doctoral dissertation in 1785. In Vienna, Gall built a successful general practice, earning a reputation as a dedicated and observant clinician. But his obsession with the physical brain began much earlier, in a classroom. As a young schoolboy, Gall noticed that his classmates who possessed the most formidable verbal memories also shared a striking physical trait: slightly bulging, prominent eyes. Years later, during his university lectures, he saw the same pattern repeat. It was a sincere, honest observation that sparked a radical question: how do our mental powers connect to our physical bodies? From this single, intuitive hunch, a universal theory was born. Gall treated the brain like a muscle. He argued that exercising a specific mental trait caused that part of the cerebral cortex to expand, physically pushing the skull bone outward to form a distinct, readable bump. Conversely, a neglected faculty left a measurable notch, turning the human head into a topographical map of character. He carved the mind into 27 distinct organs. He split memory into separate compartments, including the verbal memory that supposedly grew so large it forced the eyes forward. 19 of these traits, like the reproductive instinct and courage, were shared with animals, while the remaining 8, such as religious feeling and compassion, were uniquely human. Later disciples would eventually inflate this map to over 50 zones. In this, Gall was actually half right. Modern neuroscience confirms functional localization. Specific cortical areas do govern distinct tasks. His fatal error, however, was a basic mechanical leap. The false belief that the rigid skull acts as a perfect, elastic mirror of the brain beneath. This highly questionable leap found an audience deeply eager to believe it. The late 18th century was an era of intense scientific optimism, a time when people hungered for neat, orderly systems that could classify the chaotic human mind. Gall took his theory on the road, drawing packed crowds to public lectures where he brandished human and animal skulls. Even the great writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe attended, listening with intense fascination. In truth, the public was already primed for this. Johann Caspar Lavater's widely popular system of physiognomy had already trained European society to read character directly from facial features, reviving ancient Greek assumptions that linked physical beauty to a noble soul. We might laugh at their gullibility, but we still harbor the exact same instincts. We still routinely look at a high forehead and assume intelligence, or make snap judgments about a stranger's character based on their face. Gall merely gave this ancient human bias a respectable, scientific cover. In the 1820s, French physiologist Pierre Flourens began surgically removing portions of animal brains. He found that while these mutilations destroyed specific behaviors, they left the external contours of the skull completely unchanged. Decades later, Paul Broca located speech production inside the left hemisphere's inferior frontal gyrus, but confirmed that this internal structure had zero connection to external skull shape. While science dismantled the mechanics, church and state targeted the philosophy. In 1801, Emperor Francis II banned Gall's lectures in Vienna, branding his work as dangerous, atheistic materialism. The Catholic Church revolted against a map that reduced compassion, faculty 24, and religious feeling, 26, to physical bumps, leaving no room for the immortal soul. Gall fled to Paris, only to be rejected by the French Academy of Sciences. Yet this institutional hostility backfired. Instead of burying his theories, official persecution transformed them into thrilling, forbidden knowledge, boosting Gall's notoriety across a Europe now deeply eager to hear more.
If the theory's founder was discredited, why was the 19th century about to fall hopelessly in love with the skull map? The answer lies in Gall's ambitious young assistant, Johann Gaspar Spurzheim. Following their bitter split in 1813, Spurzheim realized that fatalistic destiny was a terrible sales pitch. Nobody wanted to pay to be told they were born a criminal. So in 1815, Spurzheim rebranded the science as Phrenology and shifted the pitch from fixed fate to trainable self-improvement. Under his system, the brain's 35 organs were treated like muscles. If you lacked benevolence, you could exercise it. Spurzheim introduced brass calipers, craniometers, and standardized charts, transforming an academic theory into a highly marketable product. It functioned almost like a 19th century natal chart, a biological map of your talents and weaknesses, but one you had the power to actively rewrite. Self-improvement sold where destiny failed, and a global industry was born. In 1820, Edinburgh lawyer George Combe established the Edinburgh Phrenological Society. Far from a gathering of eccentrics, this group of lawyers and academics published a respected quarterly journal that gave the movement organized legitimacy. The system rapidly climbed the social ladder. Queen Victoria invited a phrenologist into her household to measure the skulls of her young children, seeking advice on how to develop their mental abilities. The practice soon became an instrument of imperial administration. At a school in Calcutta, administrators regularly measured students' heads, entering the data into registers to track their development. By the 1830s, phrenology entered mainstream clinical medicine. Dr. John Elliotson, senior physician at University College Hospital in London, fused the practice with magnetism to create phrenomesmerism in his clinical wards. The system had successfully transitioned from academic curiosity to a tool of royalty, empire, and medicine. In America, the Fowler brothers turned phrenology into a highly profitable, industrial-scale business. Orson and Lorenzo Fowler, along with partner Samuel Wells, realized that if self-improvement sold, self-diagnosis could be scaled. From their New York headquarters, they established a publishing empire, selling textbooks, measuring calipers, and a national journal. The brothers toured relentlessly, offering cheap, walk-in skull readings to everyday citizens. To standardize their readings, Lorenzo designed the iconic porcelain phrenological head, complete with 42 labeled traits. Produced by potters in Staffordshire, these busts became staple decorations in middle-class parlors. The pseudoscience had completed its inevitable life cycle, sliding from the academic auditoriums of Europe straight into the parlors, music halls, and fairgrounds of the American marketplace. Gall located the murderous instinct in a physical bump just above the ear. Decades later, Italian criminologist Cesare Lombroso expanded this skull-reading logic into his theory of the born criminal. Lombroso measured heads looking for narrow foreheads and heavy, protruding jaws, treating these physical traits as biological evidence of fixed moral degeneracy. This framework soon entered prisons. Phrenologists surveyed inmates, wrapping coercive physical profiling in the progressive language of moral reform. To 19th century audiences, this diagnostic approach sounded far more humane than the brutal physical punishments of the era. Eventually, popular culture absorbed the system. Charlotte Bronte, Charles Dickens, and Dickens de Balzac used skull shapes to signal character traits to readers, while Russian satirists like Kozma Prutkov mocked the craze through the skull-reading scientist Shishkin Holm. The playful parlor game had quietly transformed into a system of biological sorting, defining who was salvageable and who was genetically doomed.
We laugh at 19th century skull readers, confident we are too smart to be fooled. Yet as we trust modern algorithms to map our minds, which of our certainties will our descendants laugh at? Tell us in the comments and subscribe for more.